Hi Ruronis, this is your pal, RuRoniK95 here, and today I'm going to do a new DVD update, because it's been a while since I did my previous DVD update on my last video, which I forgot. So, without any further ado, I decided to do a new DVD update where I show you some 80s horror movies that I picked from my horror movie collection on today's DVD update, because I've picked about 9 of these, except for the horror collector set, because horror collector set only has 2 80s horror movies, like Night Shadow and Howling IV, or the original Nightmare, which it counts as 80s horror films on a flipper disc one, along with Kraken, Tentacles of the Deep, and Raging Sharks, which we'll get to after. So, without any further ado, I picked about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 DVDs, 1 on Blu-ray, 1 VHS, which I picked from my horror movie collection, which is right there. I have right. Without any further ado, so the first one to start off with is Poltergeist. You know what this movie is, because this movie's about a family who has a house has been haunted by ghosts, this house is probably takes place on an Indian burial ground. But you know what this movie is, because I ain't going to talk about it, but you know what it is. Pretty soon I'll do a review on it. The next I have is Poltergeist II and Poltergeist III double feature DVD. I think this DVD I have is from MGM DVD. The first one I have is from Warner Home Video. But I know this Poltergeist II came out in 1986, and Poltergeist III came out in 1988. I mean, the first 2 Poltergeist movies where music was done by Jerry Goldsmith, except for the third Poltergeist movie, the music is not done by Jerry Goldsmith, because Poltergeist 3 features Lara Flynn Boyle from Men in Black 2, and Tom Skerritt from Alien in this movie. I mean, the actress who played the girl in Poltergeist 3 was her last film, because she died after this. That's the problem. The next I have is New Year's Evil. You know what this movie is. People say, why do I think about New Year's Evil? Because I think this is probably one of my favorite 80s horror movies, because this features Roz Kelly, Kit Niven, Chris Wallace, Grant Kramer, Louisa Moritz, Jed Mills, Taffy O'Connell in this film. And it says the original soundtrack is available on Canon Records and Tapes. I don't know if the soundtrack of New Year's Evil still exists, because I don't know why on the back of the DVD says original soundtrack available on Canon Records and Tapes. Because I know this movie is done by the Canon Film Group that brought you Highlander, I guess. The next I have is... and also, check out my horror movie review on New Year's Evil that I upload New Year's Eve. Check it out at your leisure. The next I have is The Shining. This is the one which is the first epic horror film from the director Stanley Kubrick, because this features Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, and Danny Lloyd, and Scatman and Crothers in this film. Because I know this has a commentary with Steadicam innovator, operator Garrett Brown, and historian John Baxter. Vivian Kubrick's documentary, The Making of The Shining, with optional commentary. And it has 3 new featurettes, like View from the Overlook, Crafting The Shining, The Visions of Stanley Kubrick and Wendy Carlos, composer. And it did have the theatrical trailer of the movie on there, because I know this is the first time I get to own this on Blu-ray. I mean, The Shining is definitely based on the novel by Stephen King, because I know this movie was released on 1980, in the same year as New Year's Evil, but this is probably the best of all horror movies for a must-have in your horror movie collection. If you want the Stanley Kubrick films, you got Full Metal Jacket, you have Eyes Wide Shut, you have 2001: A Space Odyssey, Spartacus, Clockwork Orange. There's every movie from Stanley Kubrick, because the Stanley Kubrick movie that I got was The Shining. I mean, because it's based on the novel by Stephen King, which I read the novel already, because the way I think about the Shining, I mean, it's about a family going into a haunted hotel, which is called the Overlook Hotel, which is located on an Indian burial ground. I mean, there's scenes that I saw in The Shining. You know, the twins in the hallway, the elevator with blood. I mean, if you watch the movie trailer of The Shining, it has the elevator, but then after it scrolls on the cast and crew on The Shining, and then the elevator door opens and all the blood comes out in the Overlook Hotel, and it says The Shining, and it says read the novel by Stephen King on there, which has the artwork of the poster of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, because this is probably my favorite Stanley Kubrick film, because this did feature Jack Nicholson. I mean, don't bother with the miniseries The Shining, just go with the Stanley Kubrick one. Not the TV remake. No, I'm talking about the Shining. I mean, this is probably my favorite Stanley Kubrick film. It's the first time available on Blu-ray. Oh, the version I have is the an hour 44 minute version. But in the UK, there is a European version, which is an hour 19 minute, but it's only available on UK DVD. The only way to look for the European cut version of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, you're going to have to go look for it on the UK DVD of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, because it's available in England. But the an hour and 46 minute version is probably the premiere version, I believe. The next I have is Aliens. This is probably the sequel to the first Alien movie, which is because the first Alien was directed by Ridley Scott, but Aliens was directed by James Cameron. Because I know this movie is an hour and 38 minutes, and it's released in 1986, and this movie is rated R. I mean, this basically has the music done by James Horner, but I know this movie has executive producers like Gordon Carroll, David Giller, and Walter Hill on this. And I looked at the name Walter Hill, I didn't know the director of The Warriors wanted to be an executive producer on Aliens. It's unbelievable. I mean, just blew my mind out. Because I know this movie did feature Sigourney Weaver in Aliens, because I got the one I have on VHS, I got Hollywood Video, was 2000, I believe, either 5 or 6, I believe, because I think this movie's a stunning sequel to Alien, which is the first one that came out in 1979, in the same year as The Warriors. That's why. The next I have is Re-Animator. This features Jeffrey Combs, Bruce Abbott in this film. This has a 70-minute featurette, Re-Animator 1. It has trailer, TV spots, and interview with Fangoria editor Tony Tiponi, music discussion and composer Richard Band in this one. You know what this movie is, because it has an all-new 70-minute documentary on this DVD. Because the DVD of Re-Animator has good for the documentary on there, because the documentary is like 70 minutes. It's not bad. And it has interview with others, like director Stuart Gordon and producer Brian Uzuna. An interview with writer Dennis Paoli. Interview with composer Richard Band on there. And it has fun on the set still gallery, and it has posters and advertising gallery on the DVD. You know what this is, because if you want me to do a review on Re-Animator, please leave a comment if you want me to do a horror movie review on Re-Animator. The next I have is Pet Sematary, the original. I have seen the new one. I mean, it's a lot more different from the original Pet Sematary. I mean, you know what the original is. If you want me to do a review on this, because this movie was released on 1989, and it's directed by Mary Lambert. I mean, sometimes dead is better. That's what we hear in the movie Pet Sematary. Because you know what this movie is, because I ain't going to talk about it, but you know what it is. The next I have is Silver Bullet. You know what this one is? This is my favorite horror film from the 80s. I mean, this features Corey Haim from The Lost Boys, which has got to me. I need to get The Lost Boys, Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and Chucky movies, and Friday the 13th movies, as well as Halloween movies, which I'll put on my plan on getting some more horror movies list. But you know what Silver Bullet is? I'm going to talk about it, but you know what it is. The next I have is the 4 Films Horror Collector Set. There's only a couple of, but I'm here for a couple of 80s horror movies. There's Night Shadow. Alex, an upcoming TV journalist, returns to her hometown of Danford as a local police attempt to escape with a series of brutal murders. The small town plunges into a state of panic and murders. Clearly, with the work of a monster, more beast than man continue until Alex comes face to face with evil itself. I mean, this is like this one is not rated. The Howling IV is the original Nightmare. It's rated R. I mean, it's based on the book by Gary Brander. After the direction of her doctor, Marie and her husband, planning a relaxing getaway to the picturesque of a town, Drago, Marie knows that something sinister is going down in the town, but when she doesn't know that it has razor-sharp claws and so will lust for blood, and it kills by the cold light of a full moon. This covers up my DVD update where I show you some 80s horror films. So that's going to be it for my DVD update on 80s horror movies. You guys, thanks for watching, but before we go, I picked about 10 of these 80s horror movies, but I know that I need to get Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Chucky movies, what else? Hellraiser movies, the stuff, and every other 80s horror movies that I can have for my horror movie collection as well. Hope subscribe for content. My Anime Planet link in the description down below. Share this video on your Twitter and Facebook. If you have Twitter and Facebook account as well, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. So please leave a comment on this, what horror movie suggestion if you want me to do a review. Because feel free to leave a comment. If you like this video, check this out. Be sure to click on my thumbs up button. Be sure to click on my subscribe button. Become a subscriber to ReAnimator. Feel free to join my channel. Click on my notifications bell button. Check out my other updates I'll upload on YouTube as well. Don't miss out. Like, subscribe, favorite, comment, share on your social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, etc. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Be sure to click on my like button for a thumbs up. Be sure to leave a comment on this video for notification. Be sure to leave a comment on this video. If you like this video, check out my other DVD update videos if you like this video as well. Be sure to click on my subscribe button. Become a subscriber to ReAnimator. Click on my notifications bell button if you don't miss any of these updates. Don't miss out. And that's it. So, it's been a while since I've did my DVD update, since the last one. And I know today's Monday because tomorrow's going to be Tuesday. This is ReAnimator saying, I hope you like my DVD update video on my 80s horror movies. I'm glad you liked it. I hope you enjoy. Hope see you soon for the next DVD update, and have a great day because tomorrow's Tuesday. This is ReAnimator signing off, and thanks for watching.